We got about a 15-minute window today, so if anyone joins and hops in, cool. Jazz, you're muted on Spaces again. Is that on purpose?
Yeah, I got to just pick which one of I can't have my microphone on both.
Why?
Because it's just going to pick up when you're talking to me through.
I have my phone muted, so why don't you mute your phone?
Yeah, but
no, I'm sorry. I have the volume off on my phone. So keep the mics on, but just turn the volume on your phone off.
Okay, I did turn the volume on my phone off.
Okay, we're good to go then.
Okay, but every time you talk, it picks up as you talking here and on my phone.
Yeah, that's what we need because they're
separate.
Okay. All right. Canes 2025. Thinking big picture here. I guess let's just get the ball rolling. Win total. What are you thinking? How you feeling? Give it to me.
I don't know. I want to say this is gonna be a 10-win year, but I don't trust Mario. Okay. It's just not in his DNA.
Okay.
But what are you thinking, Freed?
Yeah, I think 10-win year, 10-win or bust. Well, I guess it's less about the win total and more about the playoffs.
Right.
Because I think it's a playoffs or bust type year. I think this team overall should be better than last year's team. And I think this is by far the best team that Mario's had and probably the best team in our Miami fan lifetimes, which, started about when we started college in 2011, 2012. So I could see a 9-3 season where you still make the playoffs and that could be a success. But that kind of assumes a close loss to Florida and a close loss to Notre Dame. But last year I thought it was a 10-win team and I mean, really, last year was an 11-win team or a 12-win team. That was a really good team last year. I mean, that was a playoff team last year. The defense absolutely blew the cash, ruined a generational offense, and spotted 21 points in game 12 of the year where you're pretty much in a position to guarantee yourself a playoff berth. We somehow managed to undo it all. So you still got the 10 wins last year. That's still a success. I see a little bit of drop off on offense, but I think a big rebound, even if it's just a rebound to the mean, is due on defense. And you take a top 10-ish offense with a top 25-ish defense, and that's a top 10 team in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would say that the one thing I am nervous about is I'm nervous about not having a mobile quarterback. When Miami has succeeded in the last 2 decades, we had a quarterback who could run and throw and improvise. Carson Beck is not mobile.
I think you're sleeping on him a little bit mobility-wise. I think he's not a pocket magician like Cam Ward. Pretty much nobody is in the college game, right? But in terms of general athleticism and mobility, Carson Beck is pretty close to Cam Ward, if not right there with him. I think you're sleeping on him as the goofy white boy a little bit. He's an athletic dude. He's going to be able to extend plays if he needs to, which he shouldn't all that often because the offensive line is going to be really good again. But I guess one thing to remember is part of the reason why Cam Ward was able to do everything he did and extend the plays and go crazy was because he had so long to throw. And if Carson's got good pockets, plays are going to break down, he's going to scramble, and you're going to see some similar stuff. I wouldn't say he's a statue. Like, it's not going to be Brad Kaya or Tyler Van Dyke back there.
Hey, TVD was a little more athletic than we give him credit for.
No, he was not. He really wasn't. Do you remember the one? I remember the Temple game. We had the Booch Ball tailgate at that Temple game at the link, and TVD pulled a read option, ran like 60 yards, and then like pulled a hammy and just like fell over.
Yeah, that's kind of that's my mental model for Carson Beck. I'm going to be completely honest.
I think that's off.
I mean, let's see. I mean, we'll have to see how his elbow recovers. So he may be doing a lot more running this year than we originally thought.
Well, speaking of this, let's remind the folks, Jazz was a former athletic, well, not a former, you got your degree from in athletic training, right?
Yep.
You did graduate. They gave you a piece of paper.
They did. It is somewhere. I think it's at my parents' house. I don't know.
Love that. Well, speaking of that, I've got my knee on ice right now, per your guidance. I'm icing my knee from my softball injury from last week, looking to get back out there in a couple weeks. What sort of time frame and recovery are you looking at for Carson Beck? He seems to be back full go. Does that pass the smell test, or do you think he's still got recovery to do?
I mean, so I think there's still recovery to do. I think he can be cleared to throw, but you have to remember, I mean, the UCL is a pretty important ligament for holding together the elbow when
UCL.
But yeah, I mean, when you're cocking back, that's the UCL that it basically has to hold together as you cock back so you can get drive on your throw. Do I see him being able to play this season? Yeah, probably. I mean, it's not baseball. You're not throwing 100 maximal pitches, but I think it's going to impact him more than people expect. You look for it more on depth, on his ability to make deep throws and those sideline to sideline throws. I think that's where it's going to show up most. And I think that's going to be something that Canes fans might not fully appreciate going into the season, is that, this is not Carson Beck from Georgia. You're getting like 85, 90% Carson Beck, not 100% Carson Beck.
At least for the first few weeks of the season, theoretically.
I think the recovery, it's a tough recovery. There's a reason why baseball players are out a year to 18 months. So I would say you might see him nearing full strength, hopefully around the playoffs. That would be right when we would expect him to be sort of, at about 12 months recovery. Obviously, football throwing, baseball throwing, different things, but I would say don't sleep on how impactful this injury has been.
Okay, fair enough. So Jazzo sleeping a little on Carson's health, Carson's athleticism. He's gonna prove Jazz wrong. So far, the word from fall camp is Beck's saying the arm feels good. The terminology was arm feels juiced. Everything's good. So hopefully that's the case. Definitely feel you on, a little bit of a delay in terms of the deeper throws, stretching it out. If you remember though, last season, we didn't see all that much deep balls from Cam Ward. So that's definitely not the Shannon Dawson offense, like deep ball bombs all day. And we don't really have the wide receiving core to really play that game. So I think the first few weeks of the season, even if he doesn't have that real fastball in the bag, that shouldn't impact the game management all that much. If you were running the ball, short passes, quick passes, but as long as he has it in the bag for when he needs it, even if it's just a few of those a game, he's got to be able to stretch it out 50 plus yards. And I feel confident that they would not be putting him out there if he didn't have that in the bag. So, obviously we don't want to be starting a freshman or Emory Williams against Notre Dame, but they're not going to put him out there if he can't throw the ball.
Freed, two things, and then we can move on. I know we're pushing time here, but one, he says the arm feels good. What else is he going to say? Is he going to get out to the media and be like, actually, my arm feels like dog shit?
Of course.
So yeah, you're only going to get one response from how's the wing feeling, and then two, I think you're right that our offense doesn't rely on the deep passes. I would say the other area to watch Carson Beck, and this will be sort of like our litmus test for how's the wing doing. It's going to be on bubble screens, right? So like when we go out and try to run tunnel screens and he has to throw it to the sideline,
throw it hard
to the sideline. Like, I think that'll be where we know, like, do those look crisp, or like, is he throwing ducks out to our wide receivers on the perimeter?
Yeah, it'll be clear pretty quickly. And, the thing is with him, people watching practice say it looks good. And it is what it is. We're just getting what we're getting. But I'm fairly comfortable the arm's going to come out and look good. And people remember Carson Beck from not such a great year at Georgia. Obviously, he was the starter on the teams that weren't winning the national championships. He was the starter on the teams that were falling just short. But pretend Cam Ward wasn't Miami's quarterback last year for just a second. I mean, that's the fondest memory we have. But let's pretend that didn't happen for a second. Carson Beck would be the best quarterback we've had since Dorsey, right? Like Carson Beck coming into Miami this year is huge. And I feel like we're sleeping on it, trying to compare him to Cam Ward. And maybe he's not going to be the first overall pick in the draft. And maybe he's not going to bring some of the things that Cam Ward did. But this is a big time player, a former 5-star, a dude who's won 20 games in the SEC coming in to be Miami's quarterback. Like we should be pretty stoked about this.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the quarterback play has definitely been elevated under Mario. We're not running Malik Rozier out there anymore. Sorry, Malik. I know you're a listener, but you did us proud. But yeah, I mean, we are finally like having a rotation of dudes coming through and playing quarterback at the U, right? Like, I mean, this is having the number 1 overall pick quarterback at the U. I don't think, when I was watching Al Golden get smoked in 100-degree heat as a freshman, I couldn't have imagined the return to something like this, to having that kind of player quality.
Well, there were times, the first week or two of the season, Stephen Morris had that draft hype, Brad Kaya had that draft hype, but it would fade quickly. But yeah, you're right. And man, I'm pretty excited about it. Carson Beck, like he's a dude. There's a reason he was the starter at Georgia. There's a reason why he's been able to do what he's been able to do. I'm excited to see him. I saw one tweet that made me laugh this week. Somebody said the only person who's been able to stop a Shannon Dawson offense is TBD.
Well, this is the most excited I've been for a crazy white boy quarterback since Tathan Martell. So
yeah, we were a little hyped for him. Remember, he was playing some slot receiver that first game against Florida back in 2017. Oh, we should have won that game. That stupid muff punt, dude. That was some bullshit. But we get another shot at Florida again this year. We get them at home. We beat them in their house. Now we're going to beat them in our house. Notre Dame, last time they came to the Rock, that was hype, dude. Were you at that?
No, I didn't make it down for that. But I remember watching it at my cousin's house in New Jersey, and I was screaming, and people were so confused. But we just pulled Notre Dame apart piece by piece, and
that was so hype, dude. The Trajan Bandy pick was one of the top 10 moments of my life, I think.
Yeah.
I thought that I was in the upper deck. I thought that the place was going to explode when that happened.
And it was only made better because he hit that pick, and then they gave him the chain.
Peak when the chain season. Peak.
That was the moment that the chain was the peak.
Yeah.
And it has never been the same since.
Yeah, we peaked there for sure. Okay, so 10-2, is that where you're settling on the season? Because that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, let's just really quickly, like, where do you think our likely losses come? I think.
Go ahead.
No. I mean, I see a couple of teams that I think we'd lose to. I think obviously Notre Dame's a toss-up. Mm-hmm. Florida's a toss-up.
Yeah, just being realistic, I think he'd split those. You got to split those games. I'm budgeting for 1 and 2 in those 2 games.
The one I'm worried about, I think this is going to be the season definer, is SMU. Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna sleep on SMU, and I don't know what's going to happen there.
I don't think we're going to sleep on SMU. There's too many former Canes on that team. Too many dudes who played under Lashley. I can't see us sleeping in that game, especially as a road team against the team that made the ACC championship over Miami last year. I just can't see us sleeping that game. I'll be there. I'm actually a SMU season ticket holder now because I figured I might as well just get them for the whole season if I'm going to go to that game. But as a current native Texan, even though it's 4 hours from my house, but it's the classic ACC schedule. Like there's not a single team that we're playing in the ACC that's better than us, but you got to budget a loss because you just don't know where it's going to be, who it's going to be. Last year, we started handling our business, right? But then by the end of the year, when all was said and done, we lost to 2 teams on the road who were worse than us. And it's acceptable to lose a conference game when every game is the Super Bowl. There's nothing wrong with losing a conference game to a fringe top 25 team. The question is, which team is it going to be and when? And I mean, we're just throwing darts into the dark to try to pick that out. There's games across the board you could call out, like the SMU is a good call. Syracuse again.
Syracuse
I think
again.
we play Louisville again this year, right? Who knows whatever other random road game. We only have 4 road games this year. So, last year we handled business at the Rock. We have 8 of them this season. So 4 road games, which one's it going to be?
I'm going to target one more that I feel like we might feel a letdown. I'm thinking Pitt at Pitt, end of year. That's a game we should win, every day plus Sunday.
Weather's a factor.
But weather's a factor, and I think we've historically done this where we overlook the last game of the season. Mm-hmm. We did it against Pitt in, 17? We did it against Syracuse last year. Like, it feels like there's that one game at the end of the year that we just always sleep on. And then...
Well, if it's a situation where we're coming in 10-1, undefeated in the ACC, have the berth locked up, at that point, it's almost like, whatever, who cares? But it counts. It's a loss. It'll affect the seeding, which could be important. But I do remember a specific post-Thanksgiving Pitt game where you and I were watching together from beautiful Southern California, and TVD on the road, we surprised, and we won that game. That was early TVD, back under Lashley, of course. But don't we play at Virginia Tech this year also?
I believe so. Yep, at Virginia Tech the week before.
Yeah, so I mean, those are 2 potential cold weather, hostile environment games. It depends on how those teams are. Virginia Tech, I don't think they're going to be good. Pitt started last season pretty strong, faded hard. You don't know what you're going to get from those type of teams, but you do know that it's going to be a hostile environment. You're going to get their best shot, and I think we both agree you got to budget a loss in there. But 10-2, you go to Charlotte, you are assuming that's going to be against the Clemson team. When I'm looking at the ACC this year, I see a strong Clemson team. I see a strong Miami team. I think those are 2 of the top 12 teams in the country. And the conference really needs Miami and Clemson to prop them up this year because there's not much else out there.
No, there is not. It's going to be a long year for the ACC.
It is, but if those 2 teams go into Charlotte as top 10 teams, you got to think they're both making the playoffs, and then anything can happen. They're back to being a upperclassman-led team. Cade Klubnik is he a junior or senior now? Either way, he's been around long enough. Some of these dudes on Clemson have been around for a while. They're starting to use the portal a little bit, building back up. They should be strong. Strong enough to win a playoff game against another big-time team. Time will tell. You could say the same thing for Miami. But, I mean, we're going to talk about the roster in depth sometime later this week or maybe next weekend. But I think, at least in my opinion, this is by far the deepest roster we've had in quite some time with some really strong top-end talent. So, I'm excited to diagnose this and see, are we just doing the same thing we do every year, drinking the Kool-Aid? Or is there a good reason to this year?
Probably not. But either way, all it is to be a Miami fan post 2001 is only to know heartbreak.
Mm-hmm. We'll believe it when we see it. Well, like my 2-year-old niece said this morning when she saw my shirt, she said, "You," and that's right. It is all about the you. So, Jazzu, any closing remarks before we get out of here? I'm excited to see you and do this again like we did last year.
I'm excited as well. I'm excited. I think this is the most excited I've been for special teams. I'm previewing it now. Bert Auburn is going to be the biggest pickup this year, way bigger than Carson Beck.
The big ginge.
The big ginge. As two ginges, we support our fellow tribesmen.
Hey, maybe we will throw in a extra special teams episode. Who knows? Maybe we'll squeeze it in with the offense or the defense. But we'll be back soon. If you're watching this stream on YouTube or maybe just listening on Twitter Spaces, give us a holler. If you want to get involved, we'll cut you in for some questions or answers or just discussion, whatever. No date set for the next episode yet, but we will keep y'all posted. Jazzo, it is great to see you. Hopefully we can get Alex involved for the full Booch Ball team, but it's almost football season. I can almost taste it.
Signing off from the West Coast.